It's the Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey David, how you doing tonight?
Good, good, Bruce. I had a Christmas party tonight, so I missed most of the game, but I've been through all the grade A shots, all the highlights of the game, and I'll that'll be the extent of my input on the match tonight. How are you doing?
All right, all right. It wasn't exactly a never in doubt kind of game. It kind of got away on him for a while, but uh, as tracking the scoring chances throughout the game, it seemed to me that Edmonton was the better team for most of it. Certainly when it came to generating the most dangerous shots.
Yeah, it was 12-7 on grade A shots. And the Oilers, it strikes me, Bruce, they match up well against this team.
Mm-hmm.
Teams like this, like
Mm-hmm.
against tougher, grittier defensive teams, highly disciplined teams, the Oilers can struggle. But against more of a finesse, loosey-goosey team, the Oilers, they match up pretty well, I think, and certainly did tonight. Bruce, this is our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers. And because it's like the end of a 3-game losing streak, we'll go with two good things each. What is your good thing, your first one?
What is my good thing? Uh, well, I'm going to take Matthias Ekholm
Yeah.
as one of my good things. I thought he had a really strong game tonight, and he was pushing the puck in the right direction, and he was stopping the puck from going in the wrong direction. And both those things uh, were very helpful. He wound up with 2 assists in this game and +2, and very nice line of numbers: 8 shot attempts, 4 on goal, a hit, 2 takeaways, 1 block shot, and absolutely nothing negative anywhere on his sheet. But I liked his determination in puck battles, and there was, by my count, 3 times in the third period alone where New Jersey came busting up through the neutral zone with the puck. They took it over to their right wing boards, Edmonton's left wing boards, and there they ran into a second wall named Ekholm, who just sort of took the puck off of whoever the guy was and immediately started skating with it in the other direction. 3 times he just flat out stole the puck in just along the wall in the neutral zone. Just they never even let him get a sniff of the blue line. And I thought he played a resolute game tonight. The bearded Viking, and he took some leadership. I thought in a game where uh, they they uh, they fired and fell back a little bit, and then they came on gangbusters in the final frame. And he was one of the big drivers of that.
Yeah, the first 10 games this year, Bruce, he really wasn't himself and he really struggled. Um, and the Oilers really missed what he brought. Since then, the last 20 games, he's been outstanding, playing like he did at such a high level at the end of last season. And he is a vital player for the Oilers. They actually have kind of a big three now with Bouchard, him, and Nurse. And when Bouchard and Ekholm are on the ice, the passing is exceptional. The attacking that you get when those two players are on the ice is out of this world good. They're both excellent stretch passers. Ekholm is as well. This is the thing I didn't expect from him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what a great
Oh,
passer of the puck he is. And
one
I
one I'm
hadn't noticed that so much in Nashville, but I'm sure noticing it now.
one I meant to mention was the slap pass that he sent across
Oof.
to Bouchard, where he had the puck and he was winding up, and Bouchard cut into the slot, and Ekholm just sort of cut off his wind up and just slapped it over to Bouch, and he put it on his backhand and rang one off the crossbar. But the setup there was sublime. Like the lane opened up for him, and he saw it, and he took it right away with a hard pass, but right on the stick. And some nice vision there, and some nice sort of creative offensive play from the big guy. So I think we saw big chunks of his 200-foot game tonight, and which is considerable.
If Bouchard was to ever get injured and you needed someone on the power play, he's the guy I would put out there before Nurse. I just think he's that much better of a passer. And yeah, he really got it done. Bruce, my good thing will be, well, listen, they get a 2-goal lead and then they give up the next 3 goals, right? This is just so Oilers. This is like Oilers. Why are you doing this to us? And so the turning points of the year are Ekholm getting healthy and McDavid getting healthy. And McDavid he's a one-man slump buster, and he gets the big goal off outside shot. Actually, it's a very nice rush up the ice. Bouchard makes a very fine breakout pass to McDavid, who breaks in. I think it gets to, or it's either to McDavid or Nuge. Anyway, Nuge gets it, takes it deep. I'm getting this wrong a little bit. I think it's because Nuge makes the back pass to Ekholm at least. Maybe it's Hyman who takes it in anyway. Nuge makes a nice pass back to Ekholm. Ekholm puts it on the net. The rebound goes to McDavid. And this is where Connor McDavid does his work. He just holds. It's like 80% of the NHL players just slam it on net immediately. He holds it, and scores. And this is followed up a few seconds later with Draisaitl. The puck comes to him on a turnover in the offensive end. And what an amazing backhand shot right off the post. So it's just when they needed 2 goals, their 2 superstars came through with absolutely brilliant scoring plays, high skill plays, the kind of, earn your big contract plays. They did it in those moments. And they need, if they can get both of them rolling somehow and scoring regularly, everything will fall into place for the Oilers. Along with little goaltending.
Yeah, well, that game turned quickly when the big guys got involved in the score sheet. Went from 3-2 Jersey to 4-3 Edmonton in 42 seconds. And then they got the big goal from Ernie just 27 seconds later out of seemingly nowhere. That was a pretty nice goal in its own right to make it 5-3. And just like that, the game just completely turned around. So
I'm just watching that goal again, the McDavid goal, and so yeah, it's Bouchard who passes it to Nuge and Hopkins. It's center ice, not to McDavid. That's where I screwed it up. And Nuge takes it in over the line and puts it over to Hyman, who kind of loses it, and Nuge picks it up again and puts it back to Ekholm on net, and McDavid then with the great finish.
Well, Hyman is kind of clearing some of the traffic in front there, right?
He did, as he always does.
That was a crucial moment. That could have been called, and if it was, it's 3-2 Jersey still and a power play. And momentum going the other way, but it didn't get called. In fact, Edmonton did not take a single penalty in this game, which is kind of mind-boggling. But, they didn't commit many, but if they did, that one might have been. And then Louis mentioned, I looked at the replay, and it wasn't as, like the way the 2 guys went down looked worse than the actual contact was. Like the guy was already going down, I think, but it could have been called and it wasn't. So we'll at least mention that fact. But Hyman was doing dirty work in the low slot like he always seems to be doing, and more often than not, it's he's doing Gord's work in the low slot.
I can see why it wasn't called. I just watched the replay, and he gets cross-checked in the back, and then he cross-checked someone in the back.
He got cross-checked. Yeah,
so he gets cross-checked in the back first, so he's kind of falling over, and then he takes the opportunity to smash the guy in front of him in the back as he's falling. So I can see why this isn't called. The ref sees it, he gets knocked down, and I don't think that was a penalty. I think that was the correct non-call by the referee, of course, and I think that because McDavid scored a goal, so it all is logical in that regard. Bruce, what is your second good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the play of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. who bounced back from an epically bad game for him in New York on Tuesday. I was grading that game and I gave him a 2, which is a pretty rare grade for the Nuge from any of the three of us. And throughout this game, I was saying to my wife, Nuge didn't like that 2 he got last game because he came out loaded for bear and he was flying around out there, winning pucks uh, he cashed a rebound for the 2-0 goal, but he was involved in the play leading up to it. He was stealing pucks, he was lifting sticks, he was making passes, he was skating really, really, really well. And the reunion of that first unit of Nugent Hopkins with McDavid and Hyman, along with mostly Ekholm and Bouchard, and those guys just dominated. I mean, Nuge's on ice stat line, his Corsi in this game, 31-5, like 31-5, and they were all like that. And shots on goal, 16-3 for Edmonton, and they actually won the game 2-0. This was a game where the goals actually matched up with the shots and all these other things that we've been all year. Well, they always outshot the other guy 16-3, but they got outscored 1-0. How'd that happen? Well, tonight it didn't happen, at least not for the totality of the game, and the third period in particular turned around. But I mean, they had 8 high danger chances to 1, 8-1, and they cashed 2 of those high danger chances into goals. And then I don't know what his count was by our. It was all pretty much even strength, 4-4, and none against, clean sheet against, and they were all doing their thing. I mean, McDavid was just incredible all over the puck in this game, just stealing pucks, winning board battles, winning puck battles, made an unbelievable play at the blue line, stretch, put his end of his stick in his left hand and reach way out to pull the pass in and almost set up a goal on that play where it seemed like the puck was too far away for him to get, and he just instantly did the extended stick thing. So they all had it going on, and as mentioned already, Ekholm and Bush were doing their part as well. So that unit, when they play as a quintet, mighty hard to contain.
Yeah, and it's going to be tempting for the coach to keep that unit together, especially because on the 8-game win streak, that's got to be firmly fixed in Coach K's mind.
Yeah.
That's the unit that got me my 8-game win streak. I'm going to keep going back to that, which I actually think is really healthy for the Oilers, because I don't think McDavid and Draisaitl should be playing together. I think it's good to break them up. It's just going to be a matter of finding the right line mates for Draisaitl, which I think will eventually happen.
It kind of happened tonight, David.
Yeah.
So
with McLeod and
this game got better after they took Kane off of Draisaitl's line, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Kane is not on his way right now,
and they moved McLeod up there. Had been playing. They started the game playing center on the third line, they actually started the game and they scored a goal. He scored against the Hughes brothers right away. But I'll let you talk about that because I think you got one good thing left.
Yeah, McLeod has been a frustrating player this year. I know there's a certain school of hockey analytics that thinks Ryan McLeod is secretly playing really well. That he's a high value player driving the play and they're out shooting the opposition because he's on the ice. I don't see it. If they're out shooting the opposition, he's not driving it because he's not been playing that well, and he's been struggling all year to make an impact on the game in any really positive way. I will say that he's not a terrible defensive player, and for a third line center, like he's an okay defensive player.
Want, yeah.
So there's that, and but on the attack, well, let's suffice it to say he doubled his goal scoring tonight in one game with 2 goals. So good for him, and I will now focus on that. The first goal was a very, very nice play by Matthias Janmark, getting in there on the forecheck and causing some havoc to turn over the puck to Sam Gagner. Sure-handed Sam, who put it over to McLeod with a beautiful finish from the side of the net. That was a high hustle play by Janmark, and then some fantastic skill at the end by Gagner and Ryan McLeod. The third goal, excuse me, I guess this is the sixth goal of the game, icing on the cake, and they just give the puck away to Ryan McLeod. But he makes an exceptionally nice play, holding on to the puck, and he's able to do this: hold on to the puck and make a play. And he kind of went laterally across the front of the net and was able to outweight everybody and finally put it in the net. It was a sensational goal by Ryan McLeod. He
Patience again. Hey, like
Yeah,
not quite
yeah.
McDavid level patience, but pretty good keeping his cool. That's what I've been saying about this guy for a while. He needs to learn that old Glenn Anderson play, holding the puck as he's going across and opening up the net a little bit and then going upstairs with it. And that's exactly what he did on that play. It was a really nice finish.
It
Very
was.
encouraging.
Yeah. So more of this.
Yes, please.
He if he can chip in 15 to 20 goals a year,
Mm.
and he and be and raise his defensive game. He's an okay defensive player now. He's got to be bulletproof on defense if he's going to be the third line center on the Edmonton Oilers. Uh, they had him up there on a higher line, and maybe that's where they want him. I don't know, but like who will they have at center then? Ryan can play center. Janmark can play center. Um, I guess Hamblin's been a good fourth line center. No complaints. But do you want Ryan as your third line center or Janmark? Maybe Janmark. I don't know. Connor
I
Brown,
like
can
him
he play
better
center?
on the wing. I think he's good on the boards, Janmark.
Yeah, I think Janmark's a better winger than a center. I don't. They just don't have a third line. So unless they're going to trade for one, which is possible,
They
they could
did
trade
last
for
year, yeah.
another center. They could trade for another center, and they traded player Michael Kesselring, who's currently excelling in Phoenix. Excelling in Phoenix. Um, good for Michael Kesselring. But at the time, I accepted that trade, I should say, because the Oilers are trying to win a Stanley Cup, and Bukestad looks like they're going to help them win it. But when you make that kind of trade, and if the Oilers do it again this year, if they give up a prospect to get another third line center, which they might well do, it can hurt later on because Kesselring, he's a big mobile guy who can move the puck. And, I can't recall why they called up Desharnais and not him. Maybe Desharnais was ahead of him. I think Desharnais was ahead of him in the AHL. But I don't
They
know who I'd
wanted they
rather have
wanted a
today.
defensive guy and a penalty killer because they had
Yeah,
Barry and Bouchard both, and the
yeah,
only defensive D man they had on the right side was Cece, and they wanted to bring and Vinny's definitely a better defensive defenseman than Kesselring, to my experience.
yeah, probably, yeah. But in the long run, who's going to be the better player? That we'll
Well,
find out.
yeah.
All
Hmm.
right, Bruce, what is your bad thing?
Yeah, a little bit uh, more on Fogel's puck handling and just decision making with the puck. And one play was on the first Jersey goal where both Kane and Draisaitl, this was the sort of first edition of the second line tonight, were both like banging the end boards, and the puck cycled around to Fogel at the bottom of the left circle, almost by the boards, and he fires like a prayer pass or shot towards the net when both of his other I mean, he's up pretty deep as it is, and both of his forwards are trapped. And that pass he fires over somewhere towards the front of the net gets picked off and it goes the other way. And it's like a wide open 3-on-2 because none of them is in position then to cover it. And then, of course, New Jersey does go down and eventually put the puck in the net. Really nice shot. But in fact, it was a 3-on-2 meant that a good shooting position was going to be given up. And so that was one example. Then the third period, I thought clearing his own zone. There was one shift in particular where they had trouble getting it out a couple times, and then finally, the puck comes to Fogel playing right wing, and that's probably not necessarily helping him being a left shot. And he's coming out of the zone. You think, oh, finally, we're going to get it to center and get it in, get these guys off the ice. And he tries some kind of cute behind the back spin around pass to McLeod, and it's like 5 feet behind him. And the next thing you know, they haven't got the puck out and it's in the zone. And it's a detail, but it's an important detail. Look after the puck and be aware of where your teammates are, that you're not sort of lobbing it into trouble where there's nobody around to cover it. And basically on both of those plays that sort of happened. And it's he did lots of things right in this game, and I don't want to say Warren Fogle is my bad thing, but Warren Fogel's puck management in this game was a bad thing at times, and so I will single that aspect out.
Yeah. Bruce, for my bad thing, I'll go with those 2 second period goals. Like, the Oilers really dominated this game. They were a much better team in the end. They that paid off and they won the game. But man, they sure know how to give away a lead. And of course, the Jersey's second goal early in the second period is the dreaded Californian, an outside shot that goes right through a kind of a cross screen by Ceci, and finds its way into the net. Draisaitl might have had a chance to block it. It was a pretty fast developing play, though. But Ceci either block it or get out of the way. And he screened the goalie pretty effectively. I don't think Pickard saw that until the last second, if he saw it at all. So now it's 2-2. And then it's just a crappy defensive play. It's the most dreaded of all hockeyological phenomenon for the Oilers, the rush play. And they're rushing up the ice because Ernie has lost a battle at center ice. He later redeems himself with one hell of a good goal, but he loses the puck at center ice. It's now a rush, 3-on-2 rush or ish, odd manish rush to the net. And Desharnais gets turned around and beat on the pass into the slot. And it's 3-2 all of a sudden in a game, where they had been up 2-0 in a game they must win. So that's my bad thing. I think it is a bad thing. The bad thing of the game was that goal. And we just see it, that rush goal, they've got to figure out a way to shut that down. They're not doing it yet.
Ernie was actually in pretty good position there as the high forward.
Yeah.
But his problem was that he didn't make a clean play on the puck. Like, he had a chance to cut that play out, and he fumbled the puck. It wasn't that he was in the wrong place. It just he didn't make the play when he was there. And you can probably attribute some of that to rust because he hasn't played all month.
Yeah. And he didn't take the man. Like, he had a chance. I guess he had such a good chance.
That was the other play for sure.
He had a good chance to play the puck in that moment. But if he had also just taken the man, knocked someone on their butt, then there's no rush either. Right in that moment, right? He takes care of everything. But he did try to play the puck. I think it was actually the right play to play the puck as opposed to take the man, because he had a good chance to make a play. And that's fair of you to mention, Bruce, that he's rusty and it's hard. It's happening fast, and that's going to happen. But he sure did score a nice goal. That was a heck of a shot.
Game speed doesn't happen in practices, and to just sort of the instant read and react thing, and it didn't click there. But his goal, that was nice power move, and he tucked it in, pulled it inside, and tucked it around the goalie Vanacek, who came in after all of 5 minutes and 24 seconds to clean up Akira Schmid's mess. And Vanacek wound up taking the loss in the third period, but Ernie really deked him nicely on that rush.
Sure did. Bruce, let's move on to our numbers. What's your number?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the number 1, and that is, by at least my count, and I think you've gone through it all now, the number of 5 alarm chances that New Jersey got in this game. And the one was the third goal that you just described, where the pass went through Desharnais right into the low slot, but he slammed it home. I mean, that's classic grade A territory. And if there's puck movement involved, as there was here, it's 5 alarm territory. and that was for sure a 5 alarm shot. Their other two goals, one came from way outside through that screen, and then the other one was from an angle, but he did make a nice shot on the 3-on-2, but he was, sort of top of the circle. He just picked the corner. So it was more a matter of how good the shot was as opposed to how good the opportunity was that the Oilers gave up. And he made that shot. But there wasn't like Pickard didn't have a lot of like big fires to put out. A few little fires, but nothing where it was sort of chaos around him and he, was him against the world. There was really very little of that. And I thought Edmonton played a pretty decent defensive game and sort of hard two-way play. And somehow they found a way to give up 3 consecutive goals within that game. But in the end, their defensive play was a huge contributor to the win. This was probably a game that should have been a little lower scoring than it was, because it wasn't that many high. Like we just had. What'd you say scoring chance were 12 to
12-7.
7, like under 20 for the two teams combined. We've had a lot of games where one team had 20. And so this was a fairly contained, I would call it probably 45 minutes out of 60 of a strong, very strong road game or home game for that matter, game by the Oilers where they paid attention to detail and just didn't give up too much free stuff.
Indeed. Bruce, my numbers are 23, 45, and 67. So Connor Brown was in the press box. He's gone 23 games without scoring. And I was just thinking, we've seen this movie before. And Tobias Reeder comes to mind, 67 games without a goal. But Tobias Reeder is a very different player than Connor Brown. He's a kind of a finesse player, a smaller player. They don't bring the same things to the table. But then another player came to mind, Patrick Russell, 45 games. He was a journeyman. He was a pretty good AHL player. He was a very good AHL player. He's kind of the Vinny Desharnais, like an older player who started to excel at the AHL level and really was an outstanding two-way player. But when he got to the NHL, he just didn't have the skill to keep up. And he went 45 games without scoring a goal. And when I thought about it, I thought, I thought this year Connor Brown is Patrick Russell. He's bringing exactly the same thing, or lack thereof, that Patrick Russell brought to the Oilers, which is decent defensive play, hustle. You can't question the effort, but there's no skill. There's no high level skill plays. And that's why Connor Brown, based on his grade A shot totals and his grade A assist totals, you'd think he'd have about 4 goals and 4 points this year. That's what it's, if he had average puck luck. Yeah, 4 assists, 4 goals and 4 assists, 8 points. So the skill's not there, that high skill that we just saw from McLeod, that we saw from Draisaitl and McDavid, but also from McLeod this game. He hasn't had that moment where he's held the puck and made sure that he scored and finished it off. He's come close to scoring because he's around the net, battling hard and banging pucks at the net from in close. But I can't really remember when he gets robbed too much. And that was the case with Patrick Russell. Some guys just aren't that. They get good shots in tight, but they're never really that close to scoring. And that's where Brown is right now. So he has been obviously a higher skill player, a better player than he's showing now.
Yeah, way better.
Way better. So, but I can see why when he was benched, I think that made sense. And I don't think he's getting, after Adam Murney's goal, I don't think he's getting in tomorrow night. So,
assuming Gagne and Ryan are both able to go, because
yes,
they both got banged up in the third tonight.
Could be there'll be an injury. Brown was doing well in the PK, but in that last game that he was responsible on 2 PK goals. He didn't fail to cut it across ice pass, and then he was slow to cover the slot on another. And so I think that's why he got pulled, because his PK work was shoddy all of a sudden as well.
Right.
And
That was his secret sauce until then.
Yeah, so he better do that right. But if you're actually the main guy on 2 goals against, which he was, then that's not going to work in your favor. But maybe you're right. If there are players injured, um, he'll get back in. Of course, he'd get back in. He's the only guy.
Gagne left the game with 12 minutes left in the third or something. He got smashed in the face by a teammate's stick and went down the tunnel. And it may well have been that, whether he got stitched up or whatever, who knows, that maybe there came a point where he was good to go back in, but the game was under control. It was 6-3.
Yeah.
It might be, one or two shifts left, and 34-year-old guy, we got another game tomorrow, just take a deep breath and get a head start on that post game beer, and he anyway, he didn't return, and then Ryan got absolutely crushed on it. What I saw is a pretty cheap hit by Andre Palat with 50 seconds left in the third. And he was down on the ice for a while, and he got up and painfully made his way off to the bench. And Jack and Louie were talking about the big picture at that point. Didn't make any notice of it, but I sure noticed it, and I thought that's a dirty hit. I was a little surprised that some Oiler didn't sort of go over and make his presence felt, to be honest. But anyway, Ryan he takes like one. It seems like one heavy hit a game.
He's starting to wear down a bit this year.
Yeah.
I think he's playing hurt already.
Yeah.
And now he's getting beat up more. Like he could use a break.
So with a back-to-back, one of those 34-year-old guys could easily sit tomorrow and Brown get back in. Is all I'm saying. He won't be getting Brian's
7. Yeah.
Yeah. 34 plus. Yeah. Anyway, Brown. He won't be getting Adam Ernie's spot back tomorrow. Though I can tell you that. So.
No, he won't. Not after that goal, because that was one more goal than Connor Brown has all year. All right, Bruce, our conundrum. What is our conundrum?
We talked about why can't the Oilers hold a lead? Being a conundrum.
So like a million reasons for it, isn't it? It's like all the reasons. They goaltending, rush plays. They just in turnovers. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's hard to sustain. I mean, tonight they came out up to the first TV timeout, and maybe even most of the way to the second. They were on a completely different level from New Jersey. They were winning all of the puck battles. They were winning all of the races to the puck. They were making slick plays with the puck. They were, setting up, cycles, and just like they were, a team on another level from their opponent. It was 2-0, and it felt like if they keep playing like this, it could easily be 4-0 by the end of the first period. And then it just kind of dissipated away from them. And I think Jersey got 9 shots in a row after that. None of them particularly dangerous, but the Oilers sort of stopped playing with the initiative, and we're sitting back a bit. That always makes you go, well, why don't you just keep doing what you were doing? It was working well. And I mean, there is an energy budget, and they certainly dug into it a lot in the early going. I mean, it was a high energy first few minutes, and they just blitzed them, and it worked to the tune of 2-0. But then the other shoe came down, and then the other shoe came down a second time, and again a third time, and this time you're going, what's going on here? But we've seen this movie more than once this year, and this is a rare time where they turned it back around and came out on top. Too many times we've seen blown leads or even multiple blown leads turn into full-blown regulation losses. So tonight, at least, they were able to get it back in the third, but they sure let it get away from them in the sort of late in the first, and just those couple of breakdowns, I guess, in the second.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the energy, like there's another team out there, right? And if they've been having it handed to them, they're going to crank it up. And they're going to have a say, like they're going to push back. And the Oilers' forte is pushing, not being pushed, because they're not a great defensive team. They were starting to become a really good defensive team in their 8-game winning streak. They were consistently limiting the other team to fewer than 10 grade A shots a game, which is really good. They're starting to get that down. To win, to make the playoffs, they're going to have to be a good defensive team. To win the Stanley Cup, they're going to have to be a great defensive team.
Yeah.
This team isn't strong enough on the attack that they can win the Stanley Cup without being a great defensive team. So they might as well get in the habit of it now. And it was really encouraging during that winning streak because that you could see it's starting to happen, starting to come around. And maybe we'll see it now, Bruce. Maybe maybe they'll go on another spell here. They can play strong defensive hockey if they put their minds to it. We've seen it before. We saw it tonight. So they just have to do it consistently. And I think that's the solution to the conundrum. Just become this disciplined, veteran, defensive hockey team that when it needs to shut it down, it does so. And there's all kinds of NHL teams like that. The Oilers just need to be one of them. And they've shown signs in the past they can do so, but they need to do it consistently. All right. Tomorrow
Conundrum
night.
resolved.
Conundrum resolved.
They just need to play better.
They need to play better. That's it. That's always the solution, isn't it?
And sometimes they need a save.
Yeah. Sometimes they need a save.
Uh-huh.
Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Back at her tomorrow.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.